The fix is in. The odds that I got were delicious. The fix is in. The jockey is cocky and vicious. Pamphlet number 666 on fixing things. Note: this is not an instructional text, merely an advisement. The contents herein will not help you. There's a system of things. There are laws and rules and regulations. There's a system, and if you follow it, everything will be all right. There's a system, and if you just know how to work within it, everything will be all right. There's a system, and as long as you know how to manipulate it, everything will be all right. There's a system, and if you can beat it, everything will be all right. It isn't what you think. It isn't like being uneasy. Uneasiness implies discomfort, a sort of waiting for something bad to happen that may or may not occur. Uneasiness is ephemeral, a passing paranoia. Dis-ease, on the other hand, is sickness, a feeling of constant shadow. Dis-ease implies permanence. You don't get used to it and move on. You sink into it and know that this is life now. This is the way it's always going to be. You don't get used to it and you can't change it. That's the problem. It's as if a plague has formed within your body. And what does this plague look like? Perhaps a small gray-green tumor in your guts, slowly spreading out into every part of you, choking your blood flow day by day, and there's no cure for it. You just have to live with it, because it may be decades before it kills you. It will kill you, and that's what you have to look forward to. Once community is broken, that's what is left, a feeling of dis-ease. You can never go back. And it isn't that you only had your housing estate or farm or neighborhood in common. It's that you've been broken as well. You have changed. And now all that you relate to, including old neighbors and friends, has also changed. You've been thrown into an alternate universe and asked to function as before. But you can't. All you have is this shadow world where everything looks the same, but nothing is at all right. Nothing is as it should be. And it will never be right again. You'll never feel quite right again. Never be able to sit in your kitchen in the morning and just enjoy the sounds of birds chirping. Never go to work with a spring in your step, knowing that even if you don't like it, at least you've got this to come back to. And it isn't so bad at work anyway, is it? Got friends on the line, Sheila and Kathy and Denise. And then you've got your nice little maisonette to come home to, with your neighbors and your friends and the cat and the dog next door and your view. Trees, grass, animals. In this other world, this new world, you've got the same things, only darker. You can't sit in the sunlight anymore, or not inside your home. Tower block gone up, cuts out the light. You go to work in the dark and come back in the dark because you've had to take extra shifts just to pay for this dark little flat, just to pay for this shared equity little flat they offered you when they bulldozed the one you owned, the one you were so happy to own, so proud. No view. Those ones were double the price at the company store. Not everyone wanted one of these flats. Well, want is a strong word. Not everyone could afford one of these flats. So there go your neighbors. There go the comforting sounds of the beagle howling below, and the old lady scuffling along in her slippers above. There go block parties and kids running in and out of each other's doors. There goes camaraderie and trust and security. And that's what dis-ease really is, isn't it? Insecurity. A bad feeling that never leaves you, that follows you round every corner, into every home and shop and office tower, and in this fallow field only one thing can grow. We don't like to say it here. We don't talk about that here. If we did, we'd have to take some part of it on ourselves. If we talked about what happens after insecurity, we'd have reasons for people living in filth. We'd have reasons for bombs and fires and riots and shootings and infant mortality in nations where the GDP is highest. If we talked about it, we'd have to answer for it. We would have to know that the things that happen in Shoreditch and Sèvres, in South Bronx and South LA and Jane and Finch aren't random acts of violence. That this is not a fluke. This is designed. This is the system. We don't like to say we pushed them out, made bad deals, stole from them, and lied to them. We comfort ourselves by saying we did it for them, for their sake, for the sake of the neighborhood. And if they can't be grateful, well, they deserve what they get. We've heard that one before. We don't like to think it comes out of insecurity. That sounds too human for bombs and fires and riots and shootings and infant mortality rates. We don't want to think that someone could be made so fundamentally insecure that they just give up. We don't want to think we've given them reasons to give up. We don't know the feeling of dis-ease, how it leaks into life and spreads like blood on silk, how it feeds off of insecurity and eats your insides up until there's not much left of you, just a dark cavity with a faintly beating heart and a belly full of sorrow. There's a system in place, but it isn't for you. The fix is in. We win.